up guys, Learning with Rich here. In this video of tips and tricks, I'm going to show you how to disable the renaming of your view from the project browser by double clicking it, slow double clicking. So in Revit 2020, so there's this feature wherein if you slow double click a view from the project browser, you'll be able to rename that. Okay, so just like this one. So let's say I'm gonna click level 2 and then after 1 second I click again. So you'll be able to rename that. Okay, so this is very useful instead of right clicking and then selecting rename. Okay, so that is another way of renaming, or you click the view and then you press F2. So that is another way of renaming. And then the third way of renaming is you click the view and then you go here from the properties and then you look for view name. So there's the level, right? You can change that. Of course, you can use Dynamo to rename the view, but we are not going to use Dynamo in this session. So what I'm talking about is in Autodesk Revit 2020, there's this feature wherein you slow double click the view, you'll be able to rename it, okay? Which is sometimes I find it frustrating because there are some instances wherein I do not want to rename the view, but I just want to open the view. But accidentally, I am renaming the view sometimes because I slow double click the view, which is I do not want. I do not want to rename the view. It just so happened that sometimes I click slowly. Okay, so that is the reason why I'm going to disable it. I do not want to rename my view using double click. I do not want this. Okay, so I want this the conventional way wherein I can just click the view and then press F2, or right click rename, or click the view and then you go to the properties. So I do not want the slow double click to rename my view because okay, so it's the reason the earlier that I have said. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to disable that. So first of all, I would like to give thanks to Mr. Paul Albin. So he is my Revit hero. So thank you for sharing this one. I have learned this from him. And actually, Mr. Paul Albin also learned this from his friend Dan Stein from beamchapters.blogspot.com. And I would like to share it with you guys. Okay? So how to rename? The first thing that you need to do is you need to go to the revit.ini file of your Revit 2020. Okay, so I have a video of this one wherein I have shown you how to access the revit.ini, but don't worry, I'm going to show it to you here again. So revit.ini, it's just a note file or text file wherein you can open on the notepad. Okay, so you can do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you where is the revit.ini, so that is what we need. So let's go to the file explorer and then you go to your drive C, and then after that you go to the users and then your username. This is my username. And then you go to app data, and then you go to roaming, and then you go to Autodesk, and then you go to Revit, and then you go to Autodesk Revit 2020. Okay, so this is the location. So your C drive, users, username, app data, roaming, Autodesk Revit 2020. And then this is the one, the configuration settings. So if you double click this, it will open up the Revit notepad. Okay, so it's a notepad. Now the next thing that you need to do is you need to look for user interface. Okay, you can actually read all of this and then look for user interface, but if you're having a difficulty, just Control F to find and then you type user interface. Actually, user interface is this one. Okay, but since you are just new in revit.ini file, so you can just search it from here. Okay, so find user interface and then find next. Oops, just enter, sorry. All right, okay, so and what? I think it's already fine. So let me just do again. So, okay, so for example, this is the first time I'm going to search it. Okay, so Control F, I'm going to find user interface. enter. There you go. Okay, or you can just manually look to this notepad file. Okay, you see there's the user interface. Now the next thing that you need to do is we are not going to change any variables here. This is something this is just like the system variables in AutoCAD. So we are not going to change any system variable here, but we are going to add. So what is this system variable that we're going to add? So we are going to add, so I'm going to click here first, and then I press enter so that there's a space here. So this is where I'm going to type the system variable. So I'm going to type here is slow double click in project browser, okay, equals 0. So that means you are disabling it. So if you make it 1, so the feature will still remain, okay? You can slow double click and then rename your view, okay? But I change it to 0. Okay, so after you type that slow double click in project browser equals 0, the next thing that you need to do is to close that and then you just save it. Okay, you just need to save that and it's now updated, right? Now I'm going to close my Revit 2020. I'm going to restart that. So I'm going to close that. I'll just close my Autodesk Revit that 2020 folder. So I'm going to open again the Revit. Okay, and let's see what will happen. Okay. All right. So I'm going to use a default template here. Okay, all right. So I'm going to create a new project. I'll be using architectural template or any other template. Just select OK after you select it. Okay, and then after that, let's try the slow double click again if I'll be able to rename the view. So let's click and then click again. So as you can see, it's now disabled. So I click and then click again. So as you can see, it's now disabled. So I cannot slow double click to rename again, right? Click and then click again. Of course, if you double click it quickly, it will open up the view, which is what I want. So if I slow double click, there you go. So it's now disabled, which is, for me, it's useful. But just in case you want to return back that slow double click renaming of your view, so you just need to go back again to your revit.ini file. But for me, this is already fine. So I do not want to have the slow double click renaming feature. So as you can see, it's now disabled. But let me just quickly show it to you again. So I'm going to select C user, username, app data, roaming, Autodesk, Revit 2020, and then this one. So let me look again on the user interface. Where's the user interface? This one. So I'm gonna change this to 1, 1, close, and then save. Close this one, and then let's close this, and then let's restart again Revit. Let's open it again. Okay, so let's try. So this time I change it to 1. So if I slow double click the view, I'll be able to rename that. Okay, so that is what we are expecting to happen. All right. So let's do this. So new, use the default template, select OK, and then let me slow double click the view. There you go. So I can now rename again by slow double clicking the view. Okay, so that's it. So hopefully you learned something from this video. Sharing is caring. All right. So if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. You all stay beautiful and handsome. Have a nice day.